coarse hairs, and that will turn them off a lot of the time. So there is something topically that'll work. Other things you can do is pluck, shave, wax, chemically kill them or bleach them. So wild hairs, they do well with this Venica. Now, longer eyelashes. I was a glaucoma suspect for a while, and I got this medicine they found out by ophthalmologists using it to treat glaucoma. It was a prostaglandin inhibitor, and finally I had long eyelashes. You know, my gene pool is Welsh, and eyelashes about 2 millimeters in length. And when I used this, boy, they were really long eyelashes. And it didn't change the pigment color of my iris, which it can. So you can have longer upper eyelashes. Cost about $100 a month. Its effect will go away when you stop the use. Can irritate your eyelids and can change your eye color. But Latisse is available for you if you want to do that. Any questions about hair? We're doing fine. We're on program. Now we're going to talk about nails. So we're going to talk about nail anatomy, nail care salons, what they do there, separation of the nail plate from the nail bed, fungus in the nails, and then the brittle nail syndrome. So look at your thumbnail. You see the nail plate, that's the hard thing. You see the half moon at the base, that's the lunula. Underneath that is the matrix or the sole of the nail. So if you damage that, then you can have a bad nail plate, because that's where the nail is made. There's a border on the edge, it's the lateral nail fold, then there's the free end under the tip of the nail. So if we were to pull the nail plate off and look at it, what we would find that the nail plate and the nail bed have all of this surface area for it to be tacked down. And where it's tacked down, it's pink. Where it's free, it's white. So do not use your nail for tools, opening pop cans or other things, because you pull up on that nail plate and you separate it from the nail bed, and it's very hard to get it reattached. So should keep your nails clean and dry, cut the toenails straight across, shape nails, keep them free of snags. Don't bite them or bite the cuticles, and do not use your nails as a tool. Buy a bottle opener. Do not use your nails as screwdrivers. Buy the appropriate tool. If your nails are thick and hard, warm water before cutting would be helpful. If you really have ingrown toenails, you should see a podiatrist. They're just terrific at taking care of this. If they're only mild, a nail technician can do a good job at a nail parlor. If you use a shoe, it has a good strong box toe, then your toes can go out. They're not scrunched over. Nail care salons is a big business, 10 billion or more annually. There are 160,000 nail salons throughout the United States doing manicures, pedicures, and a few other things. Your nails will grow faster on your right hand if you're right-handed, or your left hand if you're left-handed, faster on your hands than your toes, but they don't grow very fast. Takes about 9 months to grow out a new fingernail and about 9 to 12 months to grow out a new toenail. As we get older, they grow slower. The nail plate doesn't care what you do to it. It can be any color you want because it's dead, hardened keratin skin protein. So what did we get at nail salons? Well, if you have really bad nail plates, they can be covered with enhancements like acrylic or silk overlays. And nail enamels can sometimes keep your nails from peeling away and make your nails look better. Want to be careful when you go to a nail parlor, because overzealous trauma can break the skin, allow bad organisms to get in there and cause an infection around the nail plate, which we call paronychia. Probably best not to shave your legs before going to a pedicure. We used to have our own tools on a regular basis. Now that our nail salon does what the dentists do, autoclave all the tools, it's not necessary. We didn't want to get hepatitis from somebody else's nail tools, so still a good idea if you have your own. The nail enamels are really very good. They use automobile paint finish and space program plastics technology. They're very unlikely to ever cause problems for people, and they stay a long time, longer than they used to 10 or 15 years ago. You're not going to get this in the United States, but in India, in psoriasis treatment centers, they use keratin-eating carp to eat the dead skin away. And so these women are in a Aqua Care in Washington, D.C., who've been closed, but there they are chewing away the dead keratin before the pedicure. Separation of the nail plate from the nail bed is sometimes a sign of disease, like thyroid disease, or very often it's due to work conditions. And if you want to try to prevent that, you have to trim the nail short and wear cotton gloves under vinyl gloves, and use gloves for householding chores. So here is separation of the nail plate and the nail bed in a patient with psoriasis, where it occurs as part of the disease process, but it's very hard to get that tacked back down once it separates. So you have to trim those nails short, put a little moisturizer on the surface of the nail, white cotton gloves at bedtime, and hope that things get better. Separation of the nail plate from the nail bed. Fungus in the nails. It's a very common condition. It's often not diagnosed. There are anti-fungus antibiotics that can be administered. Now, anybody who gets treated for a strep throat can get that strep throat cured. That doesn't mean the kid is not going to get another strep throat. Same way with a fungus infection of the toenails. You can treat that. It just takes a long time and it's very expensive. But if after you've done the treatment, you don't do something prophylactically to prevent it from coming back, like using an antifungal antibiotic under the free edge of the nail and around the nail, then it's likely to recur and you may need another treatment. There have been a lot of ads in the Arizona Republic newspaper about laser treatment for fungus infection of the nails. And so the laser manufacturers were busy in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and they sold them to a lot of people who were podiatrists, who then put ads in the paper to pay off their machine. So they're going to go on with this in a moment. Onychomycosis is a dermatophyte infection of the nails, so there's fungus in the nail plate, and it's in the leaves of the nail plate. It's like the Bible. There's 798 pages, and it can be in between page 1 and 2, 35 and 36, 245 and 246, and all the way through. Pretty hard to put something on the top of the nail and expect it to get to page 246. I mean, that takes a great leap of faith to think that you're going to be able to drive an antibiotic through the surface of the nail to page 246. About 10 to 15% of the population have it. So if you want to get something to that nail, it has to go to the nail matrix. It has to be incorporated in the nail plate. As the nail plate grows out, the antibiotic meets the fungus and kills it. It's about half of all nail disorders. So here is a spike of fungus growing in the nail plate, several spikes, superficial white onychomycosis. Sometimes the whole nail becomes thickened and crumbly and messy. So here's the laser therapy, and in the newspaper ads it said FDA approved. The Food and Drug Administration never approved this for efficacy. It approved it so that you could plug it into the wall like a URL, or UL labeled when you buy an extension cord at the hardware store. It's got that little white thing on there. It's approved for safety. That's all it's been approved for, is it won't blow up. There's limited clinical trial data to support this indication. There are no studies to provide strong evidence that efficacy is there, although optimism abounds. onychomycosis is prone to recurrence, thus any treatment is only temporarily effective. So here is Lunula laser. This is from the United Kingdom. And they say their device uses wavelengths of 405 and 635 nanometers because those are the wavelengths that are more likely to kill the fungus. And you can buy this for your office. It's in a plastic box. You just plug it into the wall. The patient walks in and inserts their toes into the box and waits 12 minutes till the light goes on and the bell rings, and then they're done. And you just turn on the box and walk away while your patient is being treated. They did 105 toes. 105 toes total. And they said it worked in 80% of them. No control group and no placebo trials
One patient had one leg. That's what we decided. 105. It has to be an even number to have two legs, right?
So, if you were to heat the toenail to a temperature that would kill the fungus, you couldn't possibly have stood to have that hot a toenail on the end of your toe. So, it's pretty hard for us to know why lasers are working for onychomycosis, but there's a lot of enthusiasm. People buy a machine, they want to use it. You know, beware the carpenter who only owns a hammer. Everything in the world is a nail. So, we have wonderful antibiotics. They can kill the fungus eventually. It's just slow. You know, when we use an antibiotic to treat a bacterial infection, and bacteria divide every few seconds, they're dividing. And that's when we get them, when they divide. A fungus sits around 6 hours before it divides. So it takes a long time for our antibiotic to kill them. So it takes weeks instead of days for us to get the effect. And one is better, and so this is evidence-based medicine, lots of big studies, Cochrane review. Terbinafine is superior in efficacy, it's the best choice. And it's available generically. 250 milligrams daily. The recommendation is 6 weeks for fingernails and 12 weeks for toenails. You want to cut your cost by 50%. You try using it every other day and hope you don't mess up. Now, you saw some ads for Jublia. You got to go on the red carpet. And so she gets out of the car in her open-toed shoes and she marches up the red carpet, and she doesn't want to have ugly toenails and wearing those shoes. So she used Jublia. It's a 10% solution of a very effective anti-yeast, anti-fungus antibiotic. And all you have to do is paint those nails with Jublia every day for 48 weeks, and you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting a clear nail. I cannot believe they brought this to market. They must be taking a bath. It's just going to have to make another biological to make up for this one. So, here are the references: double-blind, randomized, controlled studies, Cochrane reviews, really good evidence-based medicine. Finally, the brittle nail, and this is the same thing. The moment of your conception, it was determined that you're going to have thin, sort of brittle nails, and about 1 in 5 of us have it. We have two things that are going on. It splits the ends and gets ridges. And it's made worse by all the things that healthcare providers do. Repetitive wetting and drying, chemicals like detergents involving dissolving lipids, solvents dissolving the water and lipids. So here's mild and moderate and severe. Got to trim them short, put a little water on the nail plate, put a little Vanicream or a cream on there, put white cotton gloves or white socks on at night, keep the nail short. And we can't really affect what happened when you were conceived, but we can do that. Paint the nails. They look better, and that's what you can do for brittle nail syndrome. If your patient demands that you do something systemically, biotin 2.5 milligrams has not been shown to be harmful. So you can use that, and hopefully maybe your patient will get better. And it used to be said that Knox gelatin gave you strong nails. There's nothing in Knox gelatin that goes into the nail plate, so that's not going to be helpful. So these are the myths and truths about care of the skin, hair, and nails. We've talked about some of the myths about cosmeceuticals, what they are, the fact that they're well studied, they're often inexpensive, they have some cosmetic benefit, there are some good products out there, just need to be used with appropriate expectations. What do you do about dry skin, aging skin, and sun damage? The cosmeceuticals, moisturizers work well. The key is the water, seal the water next to the skin. Sunscreens work well. If they're there, they can do their job. If they're not, you're going to get burned. Retinoids do a good job. You have to continue to use them as long as you want the benefit. Talked about aging in advance, photoaging, sun damage, and wrinkles. Moving on to the hair care, conditioners, how to shampoo your hair. Hair growth cycle, what if hair falling out naturally is a telogen? Fortunately, that's randomly distributed over your scalp. You have 125,000 hairs. About 10% of them are going to go into telogen at any one time. The other 90% are going to continue to grow, so there's plenty there. But if you shift that telogen over to 20% falling out or 30% falling out, then you've got a real hair fall problem. You need to find why that happened. What happens with aging hair? How about pattern baldness, which occurs, and what can you do about that? Unwanted hair, how do we try to get rid of that? And then longer eyelashes. And then with the nails, the anatomy, the salons, separation of the nail plate from the nail bed, fungus of the nails, and the brittle nail syndrome. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I know many of you want to get on to having a bite to eat, lunch, maybe some packing. Victoria is coming up in 6 hours, but I'm going to stay up here and answer any questions any of you might have. And I want to thank all of you for coming. It's been a great honor and a pleasure to teach you, and Godspeed and safe travels. Thank you very much.